Hi, thank you for joining us for training today. We appreciate your time. We know that you have so many things on your plate, and so we appreciate the time that you are devoting to learning more about your School Health and Related Services, or SHARS program. Today, we're going to talk to you about various components. Please know that as you're going through this training virtually, we would love to be in a room with you where we could talk with you as a group or individually. At any point, if you're not sure about something we're covering or how to use our system, feel free to reach out. Our contact information will be at the end of the training, and we're happy to schedule one-on-one webinars virtually with you to walk through anything. If you take this training today and in a week or a month, you sit down in order to begin your documentation and you're not sure, reach out. You have district staff as well as those of us here at TASB, and we consider you family. I hope you enjoy the rest of the training.
Hello, I'm Dr. Erica Hodge. I'm a member of the TASB Special Education Solutions team. We're here today to give you a training for the School Health and Related Services program. Today's topics will include a welcome, a review of the SHARS program, a specific provider type explanation, our documentation, the software demonstration, RMTS training, and an opportunity for you to have contact information if you have any questions. As you see here on this slide, this is the hierarchy of the SHARS program. It is governed by the federal side with the Health and Human Services Division, also the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare, or CMS. As you see underneath those two slides, there are 4 different entities in our state of Texas: the Health and Human Services Commission, TEA, the Office of Inspector General, and the Office of Attorney General. You'll also notice that TASB is one of several third-party vendors in the state that support districts obtaining Medicaid reimbursements. TMHP is an entity that provides the reimbursements for your district, and then Fairbanks LLC is a contact entity that you'll see for your random moment time study information. Here you'll notice that the SHARS information is on the cost categories from 2017 shows that in blue, the personal care services area provides many dollars back to districts and reimbursements. In addition to personal care services, SHARS reimbursements can be obtained from audiology, nursing, occupational therapy, physical therapy, counseling, psych services, speech therapy, physician services, and specialized transportation. What is SHARS? SHARS stands for the School Health and Related Services. It's a Medicaid reimbursement program at the federal level where you can get reimbursement for direct medical services you provide to students who are eligible. The billing criteria means you need to have a child in your school who is enrolled in a special education program. They must be 20 years of age or younger, have an ARD or an IEP documenting the medical necessity for services, and have a disability or chronic medical condition. Finally, the student must be Medicaid eligible. Our SHARS software determines Medicaid eligibility and is reported weekly to your district administration staff. So we encourage you to enter all your sessions on your caseload, regardless of whether or not you know the child is eligible for Medicaid or not. One of the important things to know about this program is that you must obtain parental consent to release Medicaid information. Each district is required to obtain a signed parental consent one time in order to release information to Medicaid. Some districts have different policies where they may ask you to do this annually. However, it is required specifically for your district to do it one time. Also remember that if a student transfers into your district and they had previous parental consent in a previous district, you still must obtain your own district's parental consent. Finally, don't forget, after you've obtained consent, each year annually you must notify the parents that you're going to release Medicaid information on an annual basis. Did you know that there's no lifetime benefit cap for SHARS Medicaid as long as the services are medically necessary? It's very important. Many parents are concerned that once they release their Medicaid number to you, that now their benefits are going to decrease for their child. Please encourage them this is not the case. Help them understand that these services you're providing to the students are in school and they do not infect the kiddos who are getting services outside of school. There are many billable areas for SHARS. They include occupational therapy, counseling, personal care services, nursing, physician services, assessments, speech, and audiology. Also, you'll see over here specialized transportation. That's a billable service if you have one of the other services included. In this section, we will review personal care services. Anyone who is 18 years of age or older and trained to provide the personal care service required by the student is an eligible provider. What are personal care services? This could be any range of human assistance provided to students with disabilities and chronic conditions which enable them to accomplish age-appropriate tasks. They could include things such as PCS on the bus, where you have an aide or monitor supporting students who need that extra support on the bus. This aide or monitor could help with observations, cueing, assistance, redirecting, prompting, and also it's very important that you go ahead and document your services either in the PCS supplement, the transportation supplement, or even your deliberations. Consistency is the key. If you're going to do it in one, do it consistently all the time. You may ask, what is the difference between skilled nursing services and PCS? Skilled nursing services may only be provided or delegated by an RN or an APN, and they're not considered personal care services. For example, you may have a doctor who provides a prescription for a service to be provided by a nurse. If this nurse trains you as a PCS provider, you are now performing a delegated nursing service. It will not be considered a PCS or personal care service. Let's talk about ADLs and IADLs, another acronym. The activities of daily living are things such as eating, dressing, diapering, assistance with mobility services, toileting, bathing, etc. IADLs are those instrumental activities of daily living, such as meal prep, communication, managing finances, personal hygiene, helping students participate in their community. Some additional examples of PCS include that total or partial physical assistance, where you have the hands-over-hands support. It can be monitoring, observations, redirections, or prompting and cueing. You may have some students who have what we call a behavior intervention plan, and these students may need redirection or intervention for any kind of behavior that interferes with the completion of tasks that could be deemed socially offensive or will or has the potential to cause injury to the student or others. Let's talk about educational versus medical services. To the left, you see a teacher is in an inclusion class and they're teaching a lesson in social studies. On the right, a teacher's aide is monitoring and cueing students in a class to stay seated. As you'll notice here, on the left-hand side, the educational is the part where the teacher is teaching in that classroom. They're not supporting the student, they're just teaching the lesson. On the right, we have another paraprofessional or a teacher who's actually doing the monitoring and cueing. That's your medical necessity of support services because you want the child to stay seated. When is an activity or service personal care? Remember, the goal is not to teach or rehabilitate, but to complete the activity. Your level of assistance must be greater than what's deemed for a typical peer. And this need for assistance is related to the disability or condition that affects the function of the student. Now let's look at our documentation. As a reminder, SHARS and special education go hand in hand. They are closely aligned to each other. Both have an eligibility, whether it's a prescription, your FIE, a referral. You document everything in your ARD or IEP and include the medical necessity as well as specificity of services. And you also keep a log of your direct service documentation. Finally, everything in special education as well as SHARS is subject to reviews and audits, whether it's at the district level or at the state level. We also remind everyone that good special ed documentation is good SHARS documentation. What are the required components to support your billing? We ask you to remember the 5 W's and how in all your activities in order to address your required components. For example, who and how. Who is being served and how are the services being provided? Next, tell us what. The specificity of activities or services needed. Then think about when and where. What are the frequency and duration as well as the location of services? And then explain why. This is a medical necessity for the activities or services needed. Who and how, what, when and where, and then why. Here's a sample documentation statement. We'll give you a second to read over the statement. Now let's see if we can pick out those 5 W's and how. First, let's see, do we know who we're talking about? Yes, it's Josie. And Josie's going to need the one-on-one PCS. That's what she's going to be provided, individualized support for personal care services. What services she's going to need? Observations, as well as redirection for her self-injurious behavior. Next thing you want to think about is when. Throughout the school day, and during transportation to and from school on the bus. And the most important area you want to think about as well is the why. Why does she need this type of support? Well, she has bipolar disorder and she gets angry, because without the support, she could display her anger and frustration. We also want to remind everyone it's important that you document your change in services. In your documentation, it's very key to include the date of discussion, who you spoke with, the parent or guardian, the name of the district staff member, as well as your notes. And in your notes, be very detailed and describe the modality, your frequency and duration, any other topics, and whether or not the parent agrees. This consent can be verbal or written.
Today, I will be demonstrating how to enter personal care services into TASB's Smart Solution. Upon login, you will see this screen. A navigation bar appears across the top. You will need to identify students that you work with from the Manage Caseload page. Click on Manage Caseload. You now see a list of 10 students in alphabetical order. Expand the list by selecting a larger number from the Results per Page dropdown. You can review this list as is, or you can refine what you're looking for by using the search fields provided. Enter a piece of the student's last name, first name, or identifier to refine your search. Repeat this process until complete. Once you've spotted the student that you are searching for, click the Add button to the left of the student. That button will change to Remove. You have now placed the student on your caseload. Return to the home page by clicking the link in the navigation bar. Notice that your caseload appears on this page. To enter a service on a student, click the Wizards link from the navigation bar. Click on Personal Care Log Wizard. Your self-identified caseload will appear here. Choose your student by selecting the button to the left. The system will bring you to the current month. Use the month dropdown or the arrows next to it to find previous months. Once you have found the correct month, begin entering the details. Confirm that this is the correct student. Enter start and end times. Enter a time deduction if necessary. Confirm the service that you provided to the student. Was it group or individual? Indicate areas that you assisted the student by placing a check mark in all those that apply. Now select the day or days you wish to enter a log. Use efficiency tools such as the Select Week button to indicate more than one day quickly, or use the Check All to highlight the entire month. Remove days as needed when you did not provide service. Once you have selected all of the days, click Log the checked days. Your services will appear. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you have access to those logs. If you've entered something in error, find the date in question, place a check mark in the box, and click Delete Selected Logs. That will remove it from what you have entered. You can now enter new information for that day, or simply move on. If you wish to enter additional information, such as anecdotal records or absences, please review the video for related services.
Hi, my name is Dr. Erica Hodge, and I'm with the TASB Special Education Solutions team. Today's topic will be the Random Moment Time Study. As a reminder, the state has a goal for everyone to participate in the study as a rate of about 85%. However, in your district, you probably want to get a 100% participation rate. In this slide, you'll see an overview of the Random Moment Time Study process. Step number 1, the RMTS contact will go ahead and select a pool of participants for the Random Moment Time Study. This includes anyone who's providing SHAR services directly or indirectly. Step 2, The contractor for HHSC will now begin to look at that pool of people and begin matching time studies with participants. Step 3, your cutoff will randomly select you. It could be one time, it could be multiple times during the quarter to actually answer a moment question. Step number 4, the RMTS contact will ensure that all the selected participants have been trained, such as watching the video like this one. In step 5, the participants will go ahead and answer the questions. And then step 6 is very key. We have an HHSC contractor who will go and code your responses. Please be reminded that the person who's coding your responses is not an educator, so don't use acronyms. Make sure you're very explicit in your responses and provide a good, concise report. Educational or direct medical. Some still need some clarification on what's the difference between educational and direct medical services. Let's look at educational services. Those examples include a reading or language arts class, writing, mathematics, science, social studies, PE, electives, and pretty much activities that do not require human intervention to accomplish the task the student would normally accomplish for him or herself. Now, when we think about direct medical services, those include skills that are required by a licensed, skilled, and trained professional, such as your therapies for OT, PT, speech, as well as nursing, psychological services, counseling, and evaluations. This also includes personal care services, which are activities that do require human intervention to accomplish a task a student would normally do for him or herself, such as cueing, redirection, activities of daily living, and hands-on assistance. Now you may be wondering, what is a moment? In general, it's just 60 seconds. You will receive an email from Fairbanks, and it will tell you the time and date of your moment. In those 60 seconds, you will describe what happened. Please do not elaborate and go into what happened your entire day. If your time selected was 9:42, you have those 60 seconds between 9:42 and 9:43. If you did multiple activities during that time frame, only select the ones you did the most of. Once again, it's only 60 seconds. The next slide you are looking at shows us an example of the random moment time study notification. This is an email from Fairbanks, and as you will see, it has your name, has your district, it has your area of service, and it also has your date and time of your random moment time study. Please also look below because you'll see your username and your password in order to log into Fairbanks to access the system. In your login screen, go ahead and cut and paste your login ID and your password to access Fairbanks. Then you will have 3 questions to answer. Number 1, who was with you? Number 2, what were you doing? And number 3, why are you performing this activity? Now you will see that Fairbanks has updated their screens, made it a lot easier for each person to go ahead and answer their questions. As you see now in the first question, who was with you? You have a pull-down screen. Go ahead and look at the examples you see on your screen now. Question 2. The question 2 is what you were doing. In this question, you have a text box which will include 2 to 4 sentences. In this section, make sure you only write down what was happening during your moment of time for 60 seconds. If you're performing multiple activities, go ahead and put just the one you did the most of. Also as a reminder, don't use student names. Also don't use acronyms. The person coding your response is not an educator. They're professionals and they may not understand if you use acronyms. If for any reason your coder does not understand your response, they will contact you via email to go ahead and rewrite your response. Your third question, your final question is going to be, why are you performing this activity? Once again, they've given you a very handy and helpful pull-down menu there with over 20 different responses you can provide there. Go ahead and review the entire list and then select the most appropriate response. Once you've completed that activity, you should get an email that confirms your responses that you provided to the company. Now, let's do an example together. Question number 1. Who was with you? Your response could be a student with a learning difficulty in reading. Question number 2, what were you doing? Your response could be your 2 to 4 sentences. I was working with a special education student. Her disability is in reading and other health impairment. I was providing medication in alignment with the IEP. Question number 3, why are you performing this activity? Another possible response on your menu: to provide doctor-prescribed medication or medical care.
Hi, I'm Denise Carter, Education Support Senior Account Executive for TASB Student Solutions. I'm sure you enjoyed the training session that you have just completed with my very knowledgeable colleagues. However, if you do still have questions or thought of questions based on the information that you heard, here are some ways that you can get those questions answered. First, you can contact your district SHARS administrator. If the question you have is not able to be answered by them, you are certainly welcome to contact the team for Special Education Solutions by calling 888-630-6606 or emailing shars@tasb.org. We will get back with you quickly to get your questions answered. We would greatly appreciate if you would take just a minute or less to answer the survey to let us know how we did on this training. We really do take the time to look at the results, and we use that information. We always like to hear what we're doing well, everybody does, but we also really want to know if there was any area that you feel we could do better, or any suggestions that you have that we might be able to use. We would really appreciate that feedback. Because you have participated in this training session, I know that you are already aware of the amazing work that the team at TASB Special Education Solutions does in the area of SHARS Medicaid. We'd like to share with you today information about our newest area, TASB Student Solutions. Our team at TASB Student Solutions is here to support your special populations programs. We do support special education, but that's not all we do. Additionally, we can provide supports for you in the areas of Section 504, English learners, and gifted and talented. Many of the services that we provide can be done remotely, so please know that even during this time of social distancing, school closures, some face-to-face, some not, there are still ways that we can support you. The services that we provide include special education, workload, staffing analysis, program reviews in any of the areas that we support, executive coaching, and professional development. Please reach out and let us know if there's some way that we can support you in any of those areas. Thank you so much for your participation in this training session today. We all look forward to working with you to support you in whatever way you need.